This is a kind of industrial bubble.
There's a lot of bubble stuff going on.
No company is going to be immune, including us.
In July 2026, one of the most powerful companies on Earth did something strange. It started rationing artificial intelligence. Tesla capped what its own engineers could spend on AI, $200 a week. Then the tools shut off. Uber burned through a $3.4 billion AI budget in 4 months. Microsoft pulled its own engineers off their own AI tools because the bill got too big. The most valuable technology ever built, and the people building it are turning it off. Now, everyone will tell you the reason is China, cheaper models, DeepSeek, the bubble finally popping. That is the story that got millions of views last month. It is not wrong, but it is not the story. Because the reason those companies panicked is not that China got ahead. It is what China exposed. A machine built in America that runs on money the industry is paying in a circle to itself, and a bill that nobody can actually pay. The technology is real, almost certainly, but the money behind it might be the most expensive illusion since 2008, and it took a Chinese food delivery app to show everyone the crack in the glass. To understand what is happening, start with what everyone can see. On January 27, 2025, a company most Americans had never heard of released a free AI model. Its name was DeepSeek, and in a single day, it did something no company in history had done. It erased $589 billion from Nvidia. One day. The largest one-day loss any company has ever suffered.
Start of something broader for
Well, there's a lot of talk about speculation and this narrative in the market that is now being shaken.
The reason was simple and terrifying to Silicon Valley. DeepSeek was good, nearly as good as the best American models, and it cost a fraction of the price. Here is the part that actually matters. It did not stay a stock market story. It walked straight into the boardroom. Because once a model that good is nearly free, every finance chief in America asks the same question. Why are we paying so much more? And they started switching. A startup called Lindy moved all of its traffic off an American lab to a Chinese model and said it saved millions. Coinbase told its engineers to default to Chinese open models and cut its AI bill roughly in half. Airbnb ran its customer service on a Chinese model because it was fast and cheap. By the numbers, the leading Chinese models run 6 to 20 times cheaper than the American frontier. Same job, a fraction of the price. So this is a story you have heard. America built the best AI. China built the cheapest. And good enough at a tenth of the price is winning. It is a clean story. It is mostly true. And it is hiding something. Here is what the viral videos did not tell you. The great switch to China, in the place it matters most, it barely happened. When researchers actually measured what big companies run in production, not what they tried, they found the opposite of the panic. Enterprise use of open source models did not surge, it fell, from 19% to 13% in 6 months. DeepSeek, the model that supposedly ended American dominance, about 1% of enterprise spending, 1. So where did the China is taking over headline come from? One number from one place, a developer marketplace called OpenRouter, where independent coders route their traffic to whatever is cheapest. And on that one board, yes, Chinese models overtook American ones. But that board is not the world. It leaves out the tens of millions of people paying for ChatGPT. It leaves out the corporate contracts. It is the bargain bin, not the whole store. So follow the logic. If the biggest companies did not all flee to China, then the price war alone cannot explain why they are capping budgets and panicking. Something else is breaking, something on the American side, and it has nothing to do with how smart the models are. It has to do with how they are paid for. To see it, you have to follow the money, and the money moves in a circle. Start with Nvidia, the company that makes the chips. In September 2025, Nvidia announced it would invest up to $100 billion into OpenAI. Sounds like a vote of confidence. Until you notice what OpenAI does with that money. It spends it back on Nvidia chips. Nvidia gives OpenAI the cash. OpenAI hands the cash back to Nvidia, and Nvidia books it as revenue. It gets stranger. Take CoreWeave, a cloud company that runs on Nvidia chips. Nvidia is its supplier. Nvidia is also one of its biggest shareholders, and Nvidia has agreed to buy back billions of dollars of CoreWeave's unsold computing power if no one else does. One company, the seller, the investor, and the buyer of last resort, all at once. Then there is AMD, Nvidia's rival, which handed OpenAI the right to buy 10% of AMD for 1 cent a share, if OpenAI would just agree to use its chips. They are paying their own customers to be customers. And it is not only chip makers. Microsoft and Nvidia together put up to $15 billion into Anthropic, which then committed to spend around $30 billion right back on their cloud and their chips. Now zoom out. Add up what OpenAI alone has promised to spend, about $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years. And how much money did OpenAI actually make last year? Around $13 billion.
In OpenAI, it's sparking a global tech rally.
Meta is paying nearly $15 billion for a scale.
That is not a typo. A company promising to spend $1.4 trillion is bringing in 13. Every arrow in this machine points back at itself, and the whole thing only works if the demand at the end is real.
When a business is losing money but needs to look healthy, there are levers it can pull. And in 2025, the biggest names in tech pulled them. Start with a boring word that hides a lot: depreciation. When you buy a chip, you spread its cost over its useful life. Say it lasts 6 years, and each year looks cheaper. So watch this. In early 2025, Meta extended the life of its servers to 5.5 years. That one accounting change added about $2.9 billion to its profit. On paper, nothing changed in the real world. And at the exact same time, under the exact same technology, Amazon did the opposite. It shortened its server life and took a hit. Same machines, same year, opposite math. Which means that number was never really an honest measurement, just a dial each company turned the way it needed. The investor Michael Burry, the one who called 2008, says the industry is using that dial to hide as much as $176 billion in costs. That one is his estimate. But the dial is real. Then there is the debt. Meta needed to build a data center worth around $27 billion. So it moved most of that debt off its own books into a separate company backed by an outside investor. The biggest deal of its kind ever made. And the customers? Half of what OpenAI spends running its AI goes to people who pay it nothing. Free users. Nearly $4 billion serving people who never opened their wallet. Even the parts that look healthy are bleeding. Figma, the design company, watched its profit margin fall from 92% to 86%, then lower, for one reason: the cost of renting the very AI it now depends on. So here is where we are: a circle of companies paying each other, losses dressed as profits, debt hidden off the books, and a technology so expensive that the more people use it, the more money it loses. Which raises the obvious question: if it is this fragile, what finally pushes it over? And the answer is the part of the story we started with: China. This is the twist the other videos miss. China is not the bomb. China is the pin. Here is why. There is a rule in economics 2 centuries old called the Jevons paradox. When something gets cheaper, we do not use less of it, we use more. So much more that we spend even more than before. That is exactly what happened here. As AI got cheaper, companies did not save money. They pointed it at everything. In 9 months, the amount of AI a single developer burned through jumped almost 19 times. So the American labs are trapped. To keep the machine alive, they need prices to stay high. But every month, a Chinese lab releases a free model that is good enough and drags the price towards zero. The premium American product is being repriced to nothing from the outside by models anyone can download. And there is a second wound: trust. Every time a company sends its data through an American lab, it is handing over its secret sauce to a company that might become its rival. It already happened. One AI lab launched a design tool while it was partnered with a design company. That company's founder said he was blindsided. Nobody has even proven that harvesting all that data makes the models meaningfully better. The whole trade is a bet, and more businesses are deciding it is not worth it. So they are choosing to own their AI instead of rent it. And the best models you can own, download, and run behind your own locked door, they are overwhelmingly Chinese. Every path out of the trap leads to the same place, which is why the panic is real. For a year, one number has been used to prove China humiliated America.
Entire industry to its core. The emergence of DeepSeek now putting pressure on the U.S. tech names.
DeepSeek, people said, built a frontier model for $5.6 million. Pocket change. It is the number in the viral videos. And it is misleading, because $5.6 million was the cost of the final training run. Only that. DeepSeek said so itself in the fine print. It leaves out the years of research. It leaves out the roughly 50,000 chips its parent company was sitting on. The real bill runs into the billions. So no, China did not build the future for the price of a house. But here is the part that should actually worry Silicon Valley. Even after you correct the myth, the efficiency is real. When a peer-reviewed journal checked, the reasoning part of the model cost under $300,000 to add. China is not winning by spending more. It is winning by being clever, and it is giving the results away for free. Now, to be fair, because this matters, the American models are still the best. On the hardest problems, nothing beats them. And where AI is actually deployed well, it works. In one careful study, it made the least experienced workers 34% more productive. The technology is not fake. Let me say that clearly. The technology is real, and it is not going away. The question was never whether AI works. The question is whether the money does. So, is it a bubble?
Wall Street. There's the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers, the sale of Merrill Lynch to Bank of America, and word of trouble.
Here is the honest answer, the one that does not fit in a thumbnail. Nobody knows for certain. But the warning lights are on. Right now, about 30% of the entire American stock market sits inside just 5 companies, the most concentrated it has been in over 50 years. If AI wobbles, that is not a tech problem. That is your retirement. And the returns are not there yet. A study of thousands of firms found that 90% of them saw no measurable gain from AI, not because the tools are useless, but because almost nobody has figured out how to use them well. So we have trillions in spending propped up by companies paying each other on a promise that has not yet arrived. That is what China really did. It did not build a better bubble. It walked up to America's and it showed everyone the crack. The technology is real. It will change your life. That was probably always true. But the money around it, the trillion-dollar tower of companies financing each other, might be the most expensive story Wall Street has ever told itself. So when does it pop? Watch for one quiet moment. The first big company that stops spending and gets rewarded for it. Because the second that happens, everyone copies it. They always do. If you want to see who blinks first and what it does to the market, that is the next video. I would start watching now before it happens, because when it does, it will not feel like a crash. It will feel like someone, somewhere, finally looked at the invoice.
And provide benefits. And most employees, even those who didn't want to go on camera, say they'll still come into work.
Yeah, I think we're all going to come in and
he's out in the next few days.